President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday swore in Senator George Akume as the new secretary to the government of the Federation at the State House, Abuja. Senator Akume took his oath of allegiance and oath of office inside the council chambers of the presidential villa at a brief ceremony attended by dignitaries, including some serving and former governors. Vice President Kashim Shettima, President of the Senate Ahmad Lawal, Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak of Kwara State, Head of the Civil Service of the Federation Dr. Folasha Adeyemi, and wife of the new SGF Regina Akume attended the ceremony. Have a look.
Serving and former governors are attending this ceremony as Senator Akume takes his oath of allegiance and oath of office. Senator Akume has served as former governor of Benue State and former minority leader in the House of Representatives. But despite his years serving in key positions, he still sees this appointment as Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, as a big honor, and he is promising that he will not let Nigerians down.
To have been selected to serve in this exalted position out of over 200 million Nigerians is a challenge to serve in line with the oath I have taken today, a few minutes ago. I assure Nigerians I will do my best. I will not disappoint the president. I will not disappoint this country. I will not disappoint my party. I believe Nigerians will find fulfillment in my responsibilities as I discharge them in their own interest.
Apparently, it is a big deal to its citizens that Benue State has been singled out to produce the SGF.
It's a factor of exaltation. Out of the many states, Benue is chosen, and it's one of our sons whom we're all proud of. We know his requisite. We know what he has offered in the past many decades. For the state and for the nation. We're very confident, too confident, that he's also going to deliver, and the nation is going to be proud that our choicest man from the state is selected and sworn in for this great job.
My husband is a very hard-working man, very humble, kind, compassionate. He relates with people very well, and I know this time too he will do the best.
Senator Akume is the 21st person to serve as SGF since the office was set up in 1961, 62 years ago. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
And to update you on issues elsewhere, the faction of Daniel Ogazi-led Nasarawa State House of Assembly has held its plenary and announced suspension of Ibrahim Balarabe Abdullahi-led assembly members indefinitely. The suspension of the 10-member Balarabe group, which was held on Wednesday, followed a motion of public importance moved by the member representing Obitu constituency, Luka Ilya Zekaba, and seconded by Ibrahim Aliyu Nana of Kefi West constituency. The crisis that trailed the inauguration of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly has led to the emergence of two speakers at parallel plenary sittings on Tuesday. Abeli Yakubu Bala, member representing Nasarawa Egon constituency, then moved the motion for the adjournment, thereby bringing the proceeding to an end. Speaking to journalists after the sitting, Ogazi said the action of the 10-member committee of sort coming after proclamation by Governor Abdullahi Sule that the inauguration of members and all other proceedings must take place in the hallowed chamber of the assembly was illegal, null, and void. Recall that the contention escalated when Ogazi and 13 lawmakers-elect who supported him forcefully entered the assembly complex on inauguration day. A source had also claimed the governor and his predecessor in office, Tanko Almakura, were behind the assembly leadership tussle, alleging that Ogazi is being backed by Almakura for the position and that Balarabe Abdullahi, who was Speaker of the 5th and 6th Assemblies, is being backed by Governor Sule.
Can you tell us what really happened this morning?
Yeah, thank you very much. This morning, we sat as members to deliberate on issues that are very, very important to the House of Assembly and our state. First, we sat to look at the progress report of what we have done yesterday and to make necessary correction and amendment. Secondly, we have adopted that this House will continue to use the House rule until when we are certified to make necessary adjustment and amendment. Thirdly, looking at the media report and so many evidence on the social media that some members purported went somewhere in the state, particularly Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, to conduct illegal inauguration, whereas the proclamation of His Excellency the Governor of Nasarawa State is to the effect that the inauguration shall take place in the Nasarawa State House of Assembly premises. Where these 10 members went to conducted this inauguration is not the State Assembly. And for the members to also lie to the public, they deceive the public that there is security threat. The number of security men that are here since yesterday to protect these premises are enough for anybody that has any kind of threat not to come close.
And in national politics, it is now less than a week to the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly. And as is customary, the legislature will be selecting principal officers who will lead its affairs for the next democratic cycle, thus intensifying the permutations, competitions, and horse trading ahead of Inauguration Day. A few days ago, we had conversation with Senator-elect Kawus Mela, who brought us up to speed with the happenings and expectations in the Senate. But on tonight's program, however, we'll be focusing on the lower chamber of the National Assembly. Earlier on Tuesday, President Bola Tinubu had met with key contenders in the race for the speakership position, and while the issues discussed in the meeting is still largely in the wraps, feelers have it that it is not unconnected with ensuring that the ruling party gets its house in order before the D-Day. And also on Wednesday, the meetings continued with the president meeting the 36 state governors, petrol marketers, and is also expected to meet with all senators-elect and members-elect of the ruling APC. These, among many others, are going to be the focus of our discussion. And I have in the studio tonight Comrade Bashiru Usman Goro is the member-elect who will be representing Goronyo Gada Federal Constituency of Sokoto State on the platform of PDP. Before then, he served as Commissioner for Youths in the state. We also have in the studio Baba Yusuf, who is a strategist and policy analyst. And before then, he was actually the Managing Director of NACON Export Processing Zone. Together, we'll be discussing all of these issues and more. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good evening.
it's like so many activities in the country. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Welcome back. Honorable Goro, maybe I should start with you, because the last time we hosted you here, of course, you were a bit sympathetic to North Central. Of course, there are issues around Northwest where you came from, zoning to the South-South and all that. Do you think they have been appeased now with the selection of George Akume as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation?
Well, yes. Let me begin with this. You know, last time I make a reference that North Central as one of the geopolitical zones that are making agitation. They were not settled, or rather they were not being carried along in the sharing formula of the elective position.
Yeah.
That is the presiding officers by the executive arms of government and the presided officers in the legislative arms of government. Well, now having that, they have gotten the secretary to the government of the Federation, Senator, His Excellency Senator Joe Akume, is a well-balancing, because it's a key position that each and every zone in the country that have succeeded in getting that position would have been considered to
they should go to bed.
Yeah, they have been considered to be settled in the sharing formula of our positioning.
Okay.
So I think for North Central now, the agitation, we're expecting the agitation to be less, contrary to the what is currently going on.
Because before they were actually crying foul that they have contributed a lot. You're not a member of the ruling party, but they felt that based on their contribution, they deserve fair share of the national cake.
Well, when you talk on the contribution, then a little bit, Northwestern State, the state that
of course, that one is actually different, maybe compared to Southeast or South.
To the even bringing on board the President Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was more than 2.5 million baht. So North Central, considering the Northwest, they contributed little to what we have done.
Okay.
But for me, giving them the SGF is actually a very good calculation to balance the power sharing.
All right, thank you, Honorable. I ask him this because he's a politician. You are a strategist. What does this entail for the Tinubu presidency?
Thank you, Hamza. I said this a couple of weeks ago in this studio and other space that in the end, political dexterity, political sagacity, political reasoning will prevail on the outcome of power balancing during the tenure of Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay.
He has demonstrated that experience, understanding the power of consultation and sensing and influencing to come out with a position that will allow him to, preside over the affairs of this country in a way and manner that it is an inclusive government. And the strategy here is to demonstrate to Nigerians that he understands the situation we're in. Okay. One of the most polarized times in the history of Nigeria. Recall the hue and cry and the tension that the Muslim ticket cost for Nigerians. The APC, a lot considered, may even lose the election because of that. Yeah. Even within the party, the tension it created. So Asuwaju has demonstrated political, understanding of Nigeria. And he has also shown Nigerians that he is ready to carry everybody along. Yeah. And in fairness to the North Central, why I'm happy with this appointment is when you look at the numbers, politics is a game of numbers. In terms of the votes that were given to Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Mr. President. Northwest is first, followed by Southwest, and then North Central. North Central came third. And the chunk of votes
ahead of Northeast
that brought him to power. Absolutely.
Wow.
Now, if that is the case, then they deserve to be, shown that what they did is right. I mean, you reward performance, isn't it? Yeah. Performance is not measured only by events, but by results. Yeah. Now, the appointment of Senator George Akume has demonstrated that they have not been forgotten by the president.
Okay, that is political correctness. What about capacity? You think he will deliver?
Now, in terms of capacity, before even capacity, when you talk about the balance, he is trying now to dilute this issue of Muslim ticket.
Okay, by bringing
George Akume is a northern Christian. Yeah. So he's a Christian and he's from North Central. Then when you talk about capacity, I mean, the antecedents of Senator George Akume speaks for him. All right. Former governor, don't forget he was made governor with the president. From 1999 to 2007, he was governor of Benue, while the president was governor of Lagos State. Yeah. Then went on to become a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, acting as a minority leader of the Senate, right? And went on to become the Minister of Special Duties. Wow. This is demonstrating track record of understanding the rudiments, of administration, of leadership. And I believe that it is a right. We are going to have a round peg in a round hole.
All right, Comrade Gomro, maybe there is a bit of confusion in Nasarawa State now because, of course, the governor has suspended everything happening in the State Assembly. Is this a prelude to what is going to happen at the center? But let's talk on Nasarawa specifically. Are you happy that two speakers emerged? We have Daniel Ogazi, who is allegedly being sponsored by former Governor Tanko Almakuro, and then Ibrahim Balarabe being supported by the incumbent?
Well, let me give this emphasis. That is why we are always calling on the people on the position of power, that is the government, the governors in respective state, and the president at the center, to always respect the position of the Constitution. When we are respecting the position of the Constitution, in whatever case, the election of the presiding officers of the various state assemblies, and likewise the National Assembly, position of the Constitution was there. It is the right and the duty of the legislative at the state level and the federal level to go and elected their own principal officers. It has never been the interference of the governor or the president itself. Yeah. So when we are respecting Constitution, such issues should not have been happened at the various state assemblies.
So you are now saying it is an unnecessary measure?
Yeah, it's unnecessary. There is no reason whatsoever for governor to intervene and to tell legislature to go right or to go left. Ordinarily, it's like for a student asking or nominating his invigilator in an examination. So, yeah, the state legislature, they are meant to check and balance the activities of the governor. Why would the governor be intervening and bringing unnecessary confusion? So, had it been that they are respecting the position of the Constitution, those legislators will go into the chamber and elected their principal officers. What is expected by Nigerian and by respective state is that the coexisting relationship between the executive arms of government and the legislative arms of government, or rather I can call it a harmonized or synergized working relationship between the two arms of government.
Yes, Baba Yusuf, what is your take? You've seen it. Honestly, I wasn't happy what I saw. Members of equal status, they are now at dagger drawn.
There's nothing new under the sun in the political evolution of Nigeria, Hamza. I recall the drama, which is very unfortunate, that happened, that led to the stalemate in the Edo State House of Assembly, where the governor was, at loggerheads at that time with the then chairman of the All Progressives Congress. Matters went to a head to the extent that at the end of the day, we saw on one side later on how the chairman had to take a bow. We understood at that time part of it was take out of that issue. And also at the end of the day, somewhere along the line, the governor had to leave the party for another party. So this is not new.
He left it for his godfather.
Absolutely. So this is,
Obaseki, right?
This is an indication, Oshomole, right?
Yeah, he left Obaseki, yes. I mean, he left APC.
Exactly, Governor Obaseki.
Obaseki,
he left the APC to
he was his godfather.
So this is a recurring decimal in the political evolution of Nigeria. The need to exercise control over the space. People don't want to let go. And the understanding is, for you to keep your political structure intact, you should continue to hold on to those reins of power, executive, legislature, and to a certain extent have an influence, even undue influence on the judiciary. And this is what is happening across states. Remember also the terrible thing that happened during the times of Governor Ladoja of Oyo State. Also a very bad state. So this is what happens, and it's not a singular issue of Nasarawa State. I tell you, Nigerians will hold their breath again to see some dramas happen in some other states. Because the so-called godfatherism in politics will remain in the scheme of things for a very long time. And because we don't run politics of ideology, but politics of interests and sentiments and bread and butter politics, this will continue to happen. People will support people to come into power. Those other ones want to win themselves, away from these so-called political godfathers, and the tussle will continue. So it is sad, but it is our reality. We just hope that the evolution of politics will mature to the extent that we don't have this. But expectedly so, nobody wants to let go of power, Hamza. But then let me say this. What will be critical to change this? The next question, how do we change this situation?
But it's like Goro is also agitated. Maybe he wants to add courage to what you are saying.
The delivery of dividends or democracy by political office holders should be their focal point. If you do that, no matter how the coin is tossed, it will be in your favor.
Okay, Goro.
Well, in addition to that, Hamza, yes, we are going to expect and see so much of this drama, more especially from the southern part of the country, where many governors emerge from different parties and some legislative members members of the State Assembly emerge from different party. Some of the state from the south, they don't have the simple majority to produce the leadership of the State Assembly.
So the governors may not likely have their way.
And that in normal intervention of the state governors will definitely create so much drama across the country.
Now, during the first tenure of Governor Sule, there were, nocturnal whispering, that things were not really okay with his godfather, Al-Makura. Is it that the bubble has burst now? Because it is evident that these two key contenders, Ogazi and Balarabe, they are actually the godsons of these two elephants. And what will be the implication for Nasarawa? Are we going to have a repeat of Edo in Nasarawa State?
Well, it is always good to consider one thing. It is one thing to bring in a governor, and it is another thing to allow him to operate his own activities. So that normal interference or trying to maintain or to have a total power or control on a sitting governor, that is what usually causes that confusion between the outgoing governor or the successor and the predecessor. So that means as long as a governor will keep looking that somebody is trying to control or having a control over his decision making or something of that nature, then that battle of power position will certainly come into.
Yes, and as I said, maybe Governor Sule has stomached more than enough.
Oh yes, it's possible. And the thing is this style of politics will continue until people focus on delivery of the evidence of democracy on one side. And as we are becoming more aware as citizens also to identify the right people we elect into political office. The interest is to leverage the legislature as a critical arm of government to exercise control, either to ensure that you frustrate the sitting governor or whatever the case may be. As we can see, it's obviously a fallout of, and then again, there's this issue that we keep on forgetting, political nemesis or nemesis in life. Most of these guys, remember Al-Makura and Abdullah Adamu?
Yes.
the previous governor.
It appears as if they are not learning any lessons.
Yes, and then now you have Al-Makura and Sule, and it can go on and on. People want to continue to exercise power, not by delivering the dividends of democracy. If you go back to the First Republic, for example, the likes of late Malam Aminu Kano even had issues with their political godsons. It was Second Republic, where he had a fallout with late His Excellency Dr. Abubakar Rimi, and subsequently with Bakinzo. So that's why I say it's a political evolution. As time goes on, as we are maturing, maybe we'll see less of that, because this holding on to power with the focal point from the operation, from the point of view of relevance rather than delivery of value, maybe will evolve and people will start.
What are some of the implications on party politics? The strength of APC in the state now, even though they already have issues, encroachment by Labour Party and SDP.
Because the power is already in their hands, and because we are still an evolving democracy, I don't see the opposition parties rallying around to be able to form a formidable force to provide that constructive opposition. So in Nigeria is winner take all. The moment somebody wins at the top, because of the opposition party inability to have a common denominator reason why they should rise above their differences to come together to form pressure points or even to oust an incumbent will remain the albatross of opposition parties. We've seen it happening, playing out even with this outcome of this particular election, at presidential level, for example. And we see the model that was adopted by the old Progressive Congress, and it played out well when they formed the coalition. CPC, ACN, ANPP and the NPDP formed a formidable force of opposition.
Of Abga brought by
Okorocha. And we're able to form that opposition I'm talking about, consolidated, focal, with common denominator reason to be able to upstage an incumbent. So now it's managing success issue. With most people in government in Nigeria, most of the political parties, managing success in an issue. And at the end of the day, midway into the administration is when the opposition parties will have a leverage to count on that internal division to cause rancor, and then the party will now start having to struggle to win another
All right, thank you very much. We will now go to national politics. As I mentioned earlier, the last time we hosted Senator-elect Kawu Smaila, he said it was too late for Tinubu to now convince other contenders for national leadership to back out. But last night, I mean, President Tinubu met with Betara, Wase, Gadi, and other contenders and pleaded with them to give way for Tajuddin. Are you aware of that? A very simple question. And is it end of the road for the people, your favorite person, Betara?
Well, as it is rightly said, it will never be late for right things to be done. And this is what the President Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is currently doing, is what we have been expected from him long ago. So his intervention now is, putting a sense of hope in the mind of all of us, that now the President is taking charge and making sure that the affairs of the National Assembly go smoothly as we are expecting. So his intervention in bringing on board the, front runners of the, for the office of the Speakership, that is Honorable Right Honorable Mukhtar Ali Betara, Honorable Wase, which is the current Deputy Speaker, and then Honorable Sani Jaji, Mariam, and the rest of them.
Yeah, Gagi.
And this Honorable Saminu Sani Jaji. This is what we are expected from the President.
Long ago.
Now that he is bringing on board the aggrieved members, the G6, and he is, liaising with their own interests. What we heard, up to now, there is no resolution whether he is asking them to support Tajuddin, or he's actually, discussing with them to see how he can harmonize among them and bring on board one out of the 6. Okay. We don't know of till now that way I'm speaking to you. And then we heard that he's going to have a sitting this evening with the members of All Progressive Congress, both at the upper and the lower chamber.
Yeah.
So
most likely it is ongoing now, because they were asked to be at the villa around 3, and that the meeting will commence at 7.
By 7, yes. So we are waiting patiently to hear the outcome of their meeting, and then that will result what will be the outcome of our own tomorrow meeting. He invited us, or he invited the members of the opposition party. So by tomorrow evening, we are going to discuss with him, pending the approval of our own political parties. If they ask us to go and meet with the President Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, having the loyalty of the party and the party that have supported us and they sponsor our election to the 2023 general election. So we are going to discuss with him and meet with him and hear his own submission. But however, as it is now, the leadership contest is in top tier. All of them are in contest. Nobody have stepped down and nobody have issued any statement whether Betara stepped down and back for Tajuddin, or whether Sani Jaji stepped down and back for Tajuddin. There is not that response until the outcome of the today's
all right. Baba, you heard him. He led the foundation. He said, of course, it is true that President Tinubu met with G6. We listed them, and currently he's meeting or about to meet with members-elect and senators-elect of the ruling party. And he also said that by tomorrow, members-elect of opposition parties will also meet with the president. But he said something significant, that they've been expecting this from the president long ago. Why do you think it took the president this long to create serious disaffection? Because honestly, we've been having issues, but not as intense as this time around in the National Assembly contest.
The answer is simply strategy. The President Tinubu is a master strategist. And as a strategist, when you are going into battle, you prepare. You map out your roadmap, and you sequence your achievement as milestones, one step before the next. What do I mean? In the history of our polity as evolving in the last 23 years, we've always had this rancor, and rightly so, with regards to the emergence of leadership of the legislature, a very powerful arm of government. So the interests are high. Anywhere in the world, Hamza, the president or prime minister of any country, with no exclusion, is interested as to who becomes the leader.
But is it justified? Because
I'm coming.
Okay.
Now, to that extent, the first things first, to my mind, for a President Tinubu, then President-elect, is to first of all to hold on into the reins of power. He was a President-elect. Nobody knew whether he was going to be even sworn in or not. So why do you start? Why do you start
setting the horse before?
Absolutely. So the first thing is using that time to map out his strategy. What did he do? First of all, throw the kite, fly the kite.
So I have no interest.
Early enough. No, early enough the party flew that zoning kite. Early enough. And that is what precipitated the rancor. Right on time to see, will it fly or not? Okay. And if it will not fly, what are the issues? What are the dynamics? What are the mechanics? What are we going to do to still achieve that?
So he didn't sleep on duty? Or he didn't sleep on duty?
No way. Or to see how we can backtrack, re-strategize, and see where we will have the emergence of a legislature in a way and manner that it will not be counterproductive to us. I'm not saying that he has to have his way. And what is he doing? It has also not happened, right from 1999, that a president, having been elected, having been sworn in. Now, what are the next steps? The critical next step is what he's doing, the right thing to do, in line with his strategy. Obviously, constructive engagement. He has engaged the critical frontline runners. He's talking to them one-on-one, obviously negotiating, horse trading. The second layer is he's talking to the governors. And let me say this. Why? Because the governors remain the most powerful force in the power echelon of Nigeria.
And he met with them this afternoon.
And all the members and the senators from each state, I tell you, you look at the permutations. The permutations and the outcome will be based on significantly the leanings of the governors of those states. So he is doing what is right. He's engaging the party people, he's engaging even the opposition. And that is the right thing to do. He's using the strategy of influencing rather than the strategy of domination.
All right, I will plead with you to hold your breath. You are smiling. When we come back, maybe you will have your take. Viewers, don't go away. We'll be back shortly.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. If you are just joining, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. Yeah, I still have in the studio Baba Yusuf, strategist and policy analyst, and Comrade Usman Goro, member-elect for Goronyo Gada Federal Constituency of Sokoto State. Welcome back to the program. Before we went on break, Baba Yusuf said Tinubu is actually master strategist and he didn't sleep on duty. Your opposition caucuses, I mean, you met in Bauchi. Were you actually also strategizing to counter some of the strategies of Tinubu?
Well, not in that aspect. Quite all right, we have met in Bauchi. That Bauchi is a retreat for the minority caucuses that comprise PDP, Labour Party, NNPP, SDP, AFGA, and the YPP. What we were in Bauchi is actually to, discuss among ourselves and to come up with the plan how we are going to face the issues of the National Assembly leadership is part of it, and of course issues of the unity of the National Assembly and more especially the minority caucuses. During the Bauchi retreat, we prioritized ourselves on the issues of unity. We stepped down issues of the leadership contest because we felt it is very unnecessary for members of opposition.
Not to cut you short, one of the major resolutions there was that you will not put forward.
I'm coming as a point. And then we prioritize on the issues of unity, and of course we discuss among ourselves. We saw it very unnecessary to participate in the issues of leadership position, leadership position in the 10th Assembly, both at the upper and in the lower chamber. Why we are coming with this resolution is that as a members of opposition, if we participate in the position of leadership,
like Speaker or Senate President,
or Deputy Speaker, Senate President or Deputy Senate President, some policy thereafter may come on board that may not be necessarily in tune with the interests of the fellow Nigerian, but is the agenda of the ruling All Progressive Congress, or rather the government at the center.
Yes.
So for us, the members of opposition, we found ourselves in a dilemma.
Yes,
whether
because you are part of the leadership.
Whether we are going to, attack or bring down such policies to the interests of Nigeria, or we are going to, dance to the music of the ruling All Progressive Congress. So that's the reason we prioritize ourselves on unity, and we all pledge to be one, both Labour Party and MPP and the PDP, which is the major minority caucuses.
And they emphasize tussle for leadership. Then what about the position of that group you formed, Vision 10 Assembly, right?
Yes, that is the position of the new members forum. We still remain the way we are, and our objectives are quite on ground, and we are, discussing daily on our objectives and how we are going to achieve our objectives. Our objectives are not only centered on the, formation of the leadership of the 10th Assembly. How are we going to see ourselves in the 10th Assembly, more especially the lower chamber, that is the House of Representatives? We agree to be one brothers keepers, that all of us we are going to support ourselves in one way or the other when we found ourselves in the 10th Assembly.
You made commitment that you will support Betara, and this new Vision 10 Assembly is actually along that.
Yeah.
Like now, in the assumption, since you are not privy to what happened as a whole last night, I mean, on Tuesday evening when they met with Tinubu, if perchance he called you tonight and said, I have given up, I'm going to support Tajuddin, what will you do?
Our coming together, I told you earlier, is not by incident, it's by objectives. And then choosing to support Mukhtar Aliyu Betara is actually one of our objectives, to deliver him as a Speaker of the 10th Assembly, because we believe in his objectives, in his ideas, and what he's going to do in the lower chamber when he emerged as Speaker. So up till now, I'm telling you, the new vision is still for Betara, and we are supporting Betara on defending the outcome of the President intervention among the G6. When finally President resolved among them, because they have pledged to us and they pledged to all of us, even the minority caucuses and all other groups, they happen to visited in that unity that is the G6.
Yeah.
They have pledged to everybody that anyone among them that have finally emerged as a consensus candidate within themselves, they will support one another. So now we are waiting the outcome of the presidential intervention. If at all it is Mukhtar Aliyu Betara, or it was Wase or Sani Jaji or Sada Soli or Miriam or any one of them, we are going to change the dance and then support that part.
Okay, Babu Yusuf, I want you to come in here. Why Tajuddin? Is he really the choice of Tinubu? Because I heard it somewhere, a credible source who said Tinubu met Tajuddin for the first time 2 days to the announcement of his name as the preferred speakership candidate.
Well, I cannot answer that directly. Only Mr. President can answer. But we can only, hazard a guess or discern from the playouts.
Okay.
And do scenarios and say, you see, the emergence of someone like Abbas, the way he did, Honorable Abbas, is not new, it's not alien. And the concept of a dark horse, we've seen it play out many times, especially in Nigerian politics, even at presidential level. When Yar'Adua emerged as a presidential candidate of PDP in 2007, nobody thought he would come out and it would play out that way. So in this case, it is possible that Honorable Abbas was presented by a power block within the APC to Mr. President. Don't forget that Mr. President is not omnipotent.
Yeah,
President Tinubu may be a master strategist, he may be all that I have said, but he remains a human being. And he's now playing the game at a different level, even in his own case. He's now the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He's no longer the governor of Lagos State. The dynamics of Federal Republic of Nigeria has changed. And I think the reality is thinking of him as a practical and pragmatic person. He's taking it on board. And that is why you see him engaging and talking to people. It means that he is facing that reality and trying to see how he can adjust. Like I said, using the strategy of influencing rather than strategy of domination. So, if Abbas is presented by a political bloc, it's also not a problem. But then it presents an issue with regards to the history, and rightly so, of the Federal House of Representatives of Nigeria. It is more vibrant than the Senate, it is more youthful, it is more front-facing, and it's more engaging. And of course, more controversial. And therefore, to that extent, understanding that those realities should drive the decision of Mr. President with regards to, at the end of the day, how it plays out. Like I said, if I look at the numbers in terms of, with due respect to what Honorable said, we also look at how he's trying to marshal his party people, members-elect, to get them to unite. So that at the end of the day, going across, of course, the emergence of the leaders, especially the Senate Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, is not just an APC affair. It's an across-party affair. But then, united you stand, divided you fall. If APC does not put its house in order, then the critical players in APC, the garrison commanders that I call within the House of Representatives, the Betaras and the Wasis, may pull a surprise. It has happened in 2015. It has happened in 2011 or so. We've seen it happen. So he is trying to sense and try to make sure. So even if Abbas was not known to him, he is not going to take an unknown party or an unknown person to push forward. I believe that there may be some level of acceptance. However, what is playing out and the dynamics is what is playing out in his own action as Mr. President. While some people are saying party is supreme, it's not an APC affair, it's an across-party affair. Mr. President is very aware of that, and that is why you see this level of engagement. So the die is cast, like I said, they flew the kite early, and the issues are precipitating, and they are not issues you can sweep under the carpet. So the next 2-3 days are going to be critical. And as we know, 24 hours is a long time in politics.
Comrade Goro, you have something to add to this?
Well, I only want to remind Baba Yusuf that currently the minority caucuses were the greater majority of the...
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that is why...
And that's why he said they can spring a surprise.
Oh, absolutely. And because, even though it is the greater minority, which has not happened before, but then there are still within the... I like the opposition coming together to have meetings and to see how they can unite. But he said something instructive. If the candidates come out with a common position, then they will align. Which means what I said is the point. If the APC puts their house in order, recognizing that even though opposition parties agree, most likely the speaker will come out from the APC. Then it is for the APC to put their house in order. Otherwise, it is still within the APC, the candidates like Betara, that will be able to lean on the opposition and be able to come out with a leadership even against the wishes of Mr. President. Don't forget also political juggernauts, like the likes of Dr. Rabiu Musa Konkoso, who remain political godfathers and deciders of how things will roll, short to long term. All these factors will come into play.
One more. In addition, it's one thing to produce the leadership of the National Assembly, and it's another thing to have a united National Assembly. So all what we are calling and the agitation is how are we going to have a united, truly united 10th Assembly, more especially in the lower chamber. He have said it rightly for Nigeria, and he have said it rightly that the lower chamber is more productive, more engaging, and more controversial. So as long as
it has youthful,
because there is those youthful exuberances in the chamber. So we are expecting to have a very united house where we can be able to contribute positively and to become more productive assembly.
Who is going to influence your decision? Baba Yusuf earlier mentioned that most of these meetings being organized by the president is actually to galvanize forces, right? He met with candidates on Tuesday. Today he met with governors. Now he's meeting with members elect from his party. Tomorrow he's going to meet with members elect from opposition parties. You actually an opposition party in Sokoto, PDP. Yeah. Will you listen to the governor, or you're going to listen to your godfather, who is now a senator, former governor Aminu Waziri Tambo?
When it comes to the interests of the country, I don't think we should have been looking at the godfather or something that will employ his decision against the interests of Nigeria. Oh. And don't forget, in the next 5 days to come, we are in the National Assembly. We are going to embark on the decision making, and the decision that is going to determine the fate of this country for the next 4 years. Yeah. So I don't think it's something that we are going to joke with, or something that we are going to take as a privilege to write on the mandate of the people. So whatever we are going to do on that very day, we should prioritize the interests of Nigeria and how we are going to place our country first. So for me, that thing is not going to be on the godfatherism or directives or put your
conviction.
Country. Yeah, it's conviction. What are you going to do for your nation, and how are you going to contribute more positively for the development of our country?
Okay, Nigerians are actually accusing, we are moving to another serious matter, politics, economy. We don't have time, so I just need your just snippets of your take. Nigerians are actually accusing NLC and TUC of compromising. But they mobilized for strike. Suddenly, when they met with the president, they said, no, we have seen the impulse. It is going to work, the subsidy removal. Are you happy with the approach? Labour Party presidential candidate said he likes removal, but the approach terrible.
Well, that is political talk by the Labour Party.
Okay,
don't forget,
Peter,
even the PDP candidate came out with his position to show that the approach is wrong. We expect that. Every time there's a position, you must look at how you can demonstrate why you should be there. Don't forget, litigation is still ongoing with regards to that. Who is the president or who is not. So that is political talk. Taking it from there is also political grandstanding, which is what I will describe the posturing of the Nigerian Labour Congress, right? We have a new government in place. Everybody is flexing his muscle, what I call in my informal partners, initial gra-gra. Everybody wants to demonstrate influence and value. You know, at the end of the day, I think what played out is, with respect to TUC, fantastic position by the TUC, proactive, front-facing, and in alliance with what should be. Taking up the government to say you have brought this policy is going to be harsh on the workers of Nigeria. What do you have for us?
But artisans said they were not considered.
I'm coming to that. And then the NLC taking a hardline position to say they are just going to shut down the economy. I think that was a wrong move, and of course it's backfired. Even within the organized labor, you see the cracks. TUC broke away, and you see we heard rumors about the northern NLC and the southwest breaking away. So obviously they saw that it's not going to work, and they decided to come and align. That is my own interpretation of all this. That being said, right, with regards to now, what was the propriety
of removal abruptly, completely saying, okay,
now,
and it has to be in less than 1 minute because of
that. You see, it is a reality that the leadership of Nigeria under President Tinubu has to face. I think the decision was bold and front-facing. It's like you have to face an evil force you need to deal with. You decide you want to face it or you don't. And I believe is the timing of announcement of the decision is right. All I am saying is now the House and the winds. Let us hear an action plan on how to mitigate the pain on Nigerians and how to be transparent in governance to demonstrate how this money that will be recovered will be used properly, and also leadership from the top. Let us start seeing cutting of cost of governance. Let us start streamlining the structure of governance, which will save a lot of also money, and for us to see that even from Mr. President, they are ready to face the impact of this. With regards to the artisans, the IMF told us that 80% of Nigerians operate in the informal sector, which includes the artisans. Over 100 million people. They are not covered by the NLC umbrella. They are not covered by the TUC umbrella.
What goes to them?
And that is why I am calling on government not to just, and that's why that position by NLC is dead on arrival. Because you cannot, the Bureau for Public Reform had done a head count of the civil servants, and they are less than 1 million.
All right, comrade, I want your take in less than a minute, please.
Well, thank you very much.
My apologies for cutting. I have a lot to say.
What I want to chip in with regard to Baba Yusuf's submission on the NLC and TUC position, absolutely calling up that strike earlier is a mistake, because you should have studied what you are going to embark upon. We as a people of activism, you just analyze and see, okay, what are the policy currently, what are we going to negotiate, or what are we coming on board? Just all of the sudden, overnight, you just wake up and say you are going to shut down the economy. But having known very well, we economic students and people that are around the economic society, we know very well this policy is a very welcome development. It is something that is a price that we have to pay to get it right in the future, in the long run.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I'm very happy, because it's like you summarize the feelings of many Nigerians. Thank you very much. Comrade Bashir Usman Goro, member-elect, Goronyo Gada Federal Constituency of Sokoto State, former Commissioner for Youth. And Baba Yusuf, strategist and policy analyst, and former MD, NACON Export Processes, for coming to the program and for your informed perspective. And viewers, that's a wrap on today's edition. Join us tomorrow for another interesting package. Bye-bye for now. I'm Hamza Idris.